those men who don't respect women, those women who don't respect women, those men who don't respect men, all of them fall under the same category. Once the divisiveness has entered so deeply into our hearts, all actions that we do will be divisive in nature.
Do you believe, Swamiji, that kind of world is possible? We can create a world where everyone, most people, understand their true nature and this divisiveness is gone. Namaste, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Today, I got a chance to speak with, or rather, ask questions from Swami Advayananda Ji. And honestly, this conversation made me feel so happy because of the positivity he radiates. He's a monk and is on a mission to let more and more people live better lives through the knowledge of Vedanta. He has written several commentaries and books, those including Gita and Upanishads. And he was also the researcher and coordinator for the famous TV series Upanishad Ganga. I use this opportunity to understand the most basics and clear out the most general misconceptions around our ancient scriptures. Usually we do videos in Hindi, but since Swamiji is much more comfortable in English, we have done this one in English. I hope you derive some value from this video. Let's get started. So Hari Om Swamiji, thank you so much for joining, taking out the time. Before you came online, I asked this question to our audience that Swami Advayananda Ji is coming, and if there's something that you want to ask, then please share your questions. So one of the subscribers said that uh, I wish I had a Swamiji who could I directly ask questions because I have so many questions. And so this reminds me how blessed I am that I am able to talk to you directly, and this must be a blessing. So thank you,
Anand,
thank you.
it's my joy to speak to you and through you to all the youngsters. Yeah. So feel free to ask whatever questions either you have or what somebody has shared with you. So it will be a
Sure,
great pleasure and joy for me to address them
sure.
to the best of my capacity.
Okay, Swamiji. So I'll jump right in. So when we
Should we
study,
start a prayer? Should we start a prayer and then we start?
yeah,
Yeah, you
definitely,
can. You can
definitely.
use it or not use it, whatever you wish you can. Yeah. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Yes, Anand. Go ahead, Anand.
Swamiji, it will be great if you can explain why we do this invocation before we start anything.
See, Anand, always we have the sense of this I, the individual. This individual is what blocks objective thinking. This individual is what comes in the way of anything that is good. An individual surrendered to the ultimate becomes the instrument in the Lord's hands. Therefore, whenever we have an invocation, right, what are we doing? Invocation, we say, right? So, invoke the Lord's presence in us, make ourselves pure, and become an instrument for the Lord's wish and the will, the cosmic plan to flow through us, right? So this invocation is meant to make oneself pure for any kind of noble activity, whatever we undertake. Yeah. So anything we do, wonderful, we just start with the remembrance of the highest. Yeah, that's it.
Swamiji, whenever we are studying Shastras or we are studying anything related to Hinduism, this term true knowledge is everywhere. And it's said that this is what is something that we need to achieve. So, what is true knowledge and why do we want to achieve it? Why is it necessary for us?
Okay. See, whenever we say true, we are looking for something actually very deep. So this question, what you asked, is actually a very, very powerful question. So much can be spoken on what is true knowledge. Okay? So let me just share a few thoughts, okay? I won't say that I'm going to address the entirety of it because it's a very philosophical question what you have asked. So whenever you say true, okay? You say it is true. So what do you mean by that? You mean that it is not false. Am I right? So you mean that it is not false. That's why you call it as true. Now, so to understand what is true, then we have to see what is false. Without recognizing the false, nobody can come to the truth. So what is false? That's the first question then to be asked. Whenever you ask the question, what is true, then what is false? Now, false is that which is superficial. False is that which is apparent and which is not presenting a true picture of what it is. That is called false. Right? Now, you just think about, just whenever you say knowledge, let's keep knowledge aside. Now you just think, I'm seeing so many things around in the world around me, right? Like for example, I'm seeing you. Now when I see you, now I can look at you from various superficial standpoints. And I can look at your face and then say that you are a man. I can look at your face and I can say you've got a nice beard, mustache. So many things I can tell when I look at you. I can look at you and say that you have a fair complexion or a wheatish complexion, whatever, Now, I'm looking at the superficial you. Now, a little more deeper I look at you, then I can say he's a very intelligent boy. He's asking me a very deep question. So now I can go a little more deeper and connect with you in a deeper sense. I can also look at your emotions, your thoughts and feelings. You see, there are different layers to you. There's a physical layer, there's an emotional layer, there's a layer of the intellect, the intellectual layer. And then what really matters for you, what really feels core to you, what really are your convictions, what really are your in-depth, values. Now that's another layer to you. Now remember, all these things are only layers. Now you are more deeper than all these things because in truth, you are that pure consciousness. You are a very deep presence. All these things are external. Now, let me give one example from physics or something, then you will easily understand. Now, you take an object, right? So, then you say, what is this object? Then you may say, for example, I have here a katori with me. I say, this is a katori. Now, little more deeper, this is made up of, let's say steel or whatever you want to say, it's made up of that. Now, that's one layer. Little more deeper you go, you say it's made up of atoms. Little more deeper you go, you say it's made up of energy. Now you see there are different layers. So what is this exactly? The more deeper you go and the more core you go, then you have come to the truth of it. Now when you are asking what is truth, it means that these are all superficial things. Right? So whenever you say knowledge of whatever the objects, knowledge of yourself. See, basically, if you want to say all the knowledge put together, knowledge of the self, knowledge of the world. Now, when we say knowledge of the world, again it is very superficial. Now, you ask a human being, then the human being is going to explain the world in terms of, Vibgyor colors. Right? Vibgyor, violet, indigo, blue, etc. Now you ask a dog, the dog is going to say black and white, because that's how the dog sees. Now you look at snakes, for example, snakes have got ultraviolet and infrared comprehension. So the world they looks for it is very, very different. So you And each of these creatures are well comfortable, and they have a, they are surviving, and they are all doing well in this world. So when you ask what is truth, you see, it's all depending very, very superficial. It is all very relative. Even the question who I am, physical level, mental level, intellectual level, you see. So when you say true knowledge of the world and true knowledge of oneself, meaning subject and object, actually what we have is very superficial knowledge. So Vedanta is asking this question, what is truth? Like what you asked. And then, it opens up to a very different realm. So what is true knowledge? True knowledge is that which transcends the superficial.
Right. So I'll try to summarize what I understood.
Yeah.
Is that whatever we perceive is based on our capabilities to perceive in this human form. And what the truth is beyond, and it is subtle, and it cannot be perceived through our senses.
Yes, it may not be perceived through our senses, but we need to use our senses and intellect to go deep into it and see the truth.
Right. So, Swamiji, you said when a new realm opens up, when we get to this knowledge, what is that realm and how does that change a person? Because
Okay.
everyone is seeking in some way or the other. And when we find that, what happens to that person? How do they perceive the world?
Okay. Now you see, I asked the question, who are you? Right? And then I showed that there are different layers to you. The physical, the emotional, the intellectual, a little more deeper. And then finally I said that you transcend all these. Now let me explain to a little more, let me explain to this, and then you'll understand. Now let us, we are in the waking state, right? We are experiencing the waking world. We are all awake, and then the world that we experience is the waking world. Now, I go to sleep, and immediately this ends. I may have a dream world. Now, in the dream world, I imagine myself to be something different. The dream world is a mental world. Now, even that mental world ends, and then I am in deep sleep. Now we have gone from the waking world to the dream world to the deep sleep world. What has changed and what has not changed? You please see. Why I am saying what has changed and what has not changed, this is very important, because what has changed is false. Because that which changes is false, that which remains stable without change is truth. So what has changed? Your waking world has changed. Your concept of yourself as Anant, as what you are, now what you are. Now probably you're dreaming, let us say for example you have a dream and then you are thinking of yourself as a tourist in some part of the world going, right? Now that Anant is very different Anant. Now that dream world also can end, and then finally you are left with an absence of everything. But in and through all these experiences of the waking world, the dream world and the deep sleep, you have remained a conscious entity aware of the waking world, conscious entity aware of the dream world, conscious entity aware of also deep sleep. That consciousness, that entity you, which is consciousness, has remained stationary and unchanging. And that consciousness is you. All these things are layers. When you're a small child, you're a boy, young boy, then now you're youth, then a time will come in middle age, old age, the body is changing, the mind also has changed so much, thoughts have changed, your own comprehension, convictions have changed, all these things have changed. What has remained changeless is you, the consciousness, the spark of awareness, the life principle. And that life principle in you, in me, is one and the same. This is Advaita. This life principle in you, in the whole world of objects and beings, plants and animals and trees and stars and galaxies, that life principle remains the same in all. And once you recognize that you are that life principle, I am that life principle, you are that life principle, everyone is a life principle, consciousness inside, it's a pure consciousness, and everything is only a layer. So you will never be deceived by the layers, either within yourself, in you, or in the external world. You see oneness everywhere. And seeing that oneness everywhere, your way of thinking, your way of, appreciating, your way of being, everything undergoes a, so to say, a quantum shift, if I may use that word. And then you are a very, very different being. Now the sense of incompleteness is gone. The insecurity is gone. The divisiveness in the thinking is gone. Right? So this is wisdom. Okay? This is Advaita. You must have heard the word Advaita, right? Advaita is no two. Meaning, I and you are not different. We are all one and the same. So this is truth. This is knowledge. This is completeness. And this gives perfection in every way. Yeah?
Definitely.
Have I answered your question?
Definitely,
Have I
I'm enjoying
Okay.
this conversation, and
Okay.
I have a follow-up question as well.
Yes.
So, actually, I was one of the lucky students to attend the 10-day Vedanta camp. So, I have had a little grasp, but then as I came back to my regular life, I lost that essence. So, this is my opportunity to get back. So, Swamiji, tell me one thing. So, once we have recognized the truth and we are not deceived by what is false, how does that uh, for a Vedanti, how does that shift the perception when they see this world? For example, right now we are seeing there are so many problems in the world. For example, the climate is suffering because of our desires. The people are suffering. There's so much wars that are going on. Then how does a Vedanti perceive it? Do they get, or should they get bothered by it or not? And and then what is the next step for them? What do they do about it?
You see, to look at a problem, we have to be very objective about it. Right? So we have to see where from the problem is springing. So immediately one would say the problem is springing because of human consumerism. No? One would say it because of human greed, because of human, notions of conquest, because of human feelings of taking what is others to enrich oneself. Right? So you have, these are the evident things which you see outside, because of which you see the problem. So, but as a Vedantin, when you look at it, you see all these things are coming only because of the human non-comprehension of oneself in one's true nature. Human, one's own, non-comprehension, not seeing oneself in one's true nature. Meaning, I take myself to the body, I take myself to be the mind. Then what happens? The mind and its cravings and its wishes and wants are my wants, my wishes, my craving. Then I am bound by the body, bound by the mind, and they dictate terms to me. Now, this is what is happening, because of which all the problems are there. Now, how can you eradicate it? You are asking a Vedantin, you are asking me, how do I look at it? When I look at it, I look at from where it springs from. So, unless this education of this nature is there, this problem cannot be solved. So, it requires it is not a band-aid solution. Well, you may have some rules and things made, but people are going to break it. Because why? Because the problem is not solved. Without solving the problem, you are trying to curtail the problem. And when you try to curtail the problem, human beings don't like curtailment, because their essence is freedom. Only thing they have not seen where true freedom lies. And that is what is causing the problem, Anand.
So, Swamiji, I know you have dedicated your life to making people aware about it, understanding the concepts of life. Uh, so, but I see there's a huge population who don't even want to listen to this because it makes them uncomfortable. I'll tell you my observation. After I went to the 10-day camp, I was in a group which is my old friends, and they're not so spiritual. So, and that is fine. But when they asked, what did you learn? What happened in 10 days? When I started to give the gyan that I got, I saw that within 2 minutes, they started to disperse here and there. So it felt like they're not comfortable. Then I stopped telling it to them. So, and through our channel, we are trying to bring people like you and maybe dissipate whatever we learn. But then there's a whole bunch of people who don't want this knowledge. And so, how do we really get to them? Is it that their time the time has not come, or is it that the enough resources are not there to educate everyone? What is the problem?
See, it when you say, how this knowledge can reach all, are they interested? You're asking. Now, I would say that unless you know something, how interest can come, and unless that is presented in the way the other person can appreciate, how will interest come? So, first of all, ignorance is there. And for the ignorance to go, it has to be given in a certain manner. The other person can appreciate it. In my experience, Anant, I will tell you, is that I have not found people who are not able to appreciate this knowledge at all. No. There are layers of appreciation. You bring anybody. I only say that, because how can I otherwise explain that? You bring a child, okay? The child can be communicated through stories. You bring a youngster. The youngster, I was also a youngster at one point of time. That's when my pursuit started. And how it happened for us? Because they gave logical answers when I asked questions. Right? Now, what I mean is that every person will have to find a way to communicate it. Now, at your home, let's say, you have I do not know your family, so let's say I'm saying you have a younger brother, let us say, and you have got in your home, let us say, there is also a baby. A baby means, let's say, for example, 1 year, 2 year, age. So your mother, when she is making food, the food she is making for you, you are, a youngster, let's say. Now the food she is going to make to a 8-year, 9-year-old boy or a child or a sister, your sister, or a baby which is 1 year, 2 year. Remember, she is probably, let us say, a potato, okay? A potato, okay? Now the way the potato is fed for that small fellow who's 2 years, and what is made for, let us say, 3, 4, 5, 6, around that age. So that is a dish, potato only she is using. For the child, probably she is, mashing it up and, do whatever, and then she is giving. For the, let us say, for that, one which is 10 years or something like that, a proper dish probably, she is making a potato sabji. Now for you, probably she will also make vegetable biryani with the same potato. Now she is using potato, but she is using it according to the needs of the requirement of the person, the target audience. Same way, knowledge also has to be shared in that manner. In your school also you have some teachers, colleges you have professors whom you like. Then you also have people with whom you don't connect with at all. It's nothing to do with spiritual knowledge. It's to do with the way it is communicated. And you say that you have, you went 10 days and then, obviously 10 days is not sufficient for communication. You have to become an expert in communicating that. And more than communication, what really matters is how we are as a person. Gurudev Swami Chinmaya Ji used to say very beautifully, he used to say, somebody asked him the question, how do I communicate right values to children? Obviously, a parent was asking this question. So Swamiji said, values are not taught, values are caught. The child sees how you are behaving and the child gets the values. So, it all, okay, you were studied, okay, after you were studied, now how do you communicate? What should you communicate? Very, very, very interesting ways. For example, Swamiji, I'm just quoting again my teacher, Swami Chinmaya Ji. So, you see how he is communicating, just to show that example. A reporter asked, can you explain to me Vedanta in 2 words? Vedanta in 2 words. Gurudev said, shut up and get out. Okay, 2 phrases, shut up and get out. Now the man said, what? Shut up your mind and get out of the bondage. See, there are various methods, and I think we have to use the right methods in the right manner to communicate. And really speaking, Sanatana Dharma, the philosophy of Vedanta, the Vedantic thought is so mature and available for everyone. And if I may say one more thing, when we were all youngsters, right? We were in our schools, 11th grade, 12th grade, and Swami Chinmaya Ji used to come to the place, our place, and then we friends, we used to discuss. That sessions were in the evening, evening 6:30 to 8 o'clock. We friends used to discuss, should we go for a movie or should we go to Swami Chinmaya Ji's talk? Remember, youngsters were all, okay? And then finally we took a decision, all of us take a decision, we go to the talk, Bhagavad Geeta talk. Because that was how he communicated. So if you say that people are not interested, I don't agree.
Okay. I'm going to retry, maybe phrase my words better when I speak to them again.
And also our own conviction is important. Our deep conviction. Are you convinced about what you're talking? So many things are involved in communication. Yeah.
So Swamiji, a lot of people ask, how do we propagate this knowledge? But then again, they have their own conviction. So other set of people have also asked, how do we study? What is the right way to study Shastras? Now, the reason is that there's so many translations. So many people have done their commentaries and translations. How do we decide what is right? And what is the correct way to study it? Because it is not like a history or geography book that you study and you're done. What is the right method to learn Vedanta, learn Shastras?
See, the most perfect method is to go to a teacher and be in direct communication, study deeply, and be in constant touch. Because it's not that you are studying now and then again you lose touch and then again you forget, again. You be in constant touch, get your doubts clarified, apply it also to your life, bring about the actual transformation. Okay? This is the ideal way. But one would say that where do I find my teacher, how do I go, and all those things. But really speaking, when you are ready for it, the teacher happens. When you are ready, the teacher happens. If you say that I will go find a teacher, okay, probably I'll interview 10 people and find out who is the best teacher. That means you are more intelligent than your teacher. Then how can that person be your teacher? Right? So the way is not to find out a teacher or to go in search of a teacher. The way is to evolve and be ready with a deep inspiration and a deep inner wish to learn, to transform, to grow. And if that inner wish is there, you will immediately find the teacher appears in the radar of your awareness or in it happens. How it happens, That is a way of cosmos. When you are ready, things happen for you. Okay?
I think it is the same as with the 2 year course that Anuji told me about. The 2 year course that Sandipani Sadhanalaya is offering. And
Yes.
I think it is one of the great methods for people who are really serious to learn through it. So Swamiji, can you? You're a resident teacher there, and I saw on the website that you were the teacher in the 15th Vedanta course. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, you are right. You are right.
Swamiji,
You are right.
please tell us something about those 2 years. How does that really evolve a person, and are those students really able to grasp the deep concepts of Vedanta when they take out their time?
You see that whole Sandipani, it's an experience, I would say. Sandipani experience. I can also say that because I also studied in the same Sandipani. Not only I studied there, later on also, Pujya Swamiji, he asked me also to take, and now again I am going to take. Earlier also I had taken in Coimbatore for Tamil English. Very various kinds of these kind of Sandipani courses, and myself also went through it. So this. What can I say about the Sandipani experience? It is unique, incomparable, and there is no experience as such as like that. Okay. Now that's all I can say in short. But you may want to know more. I can describe you more, but the taste of it does not come by describing the ingredients of the food. Okay. So I can, the most beautiful dish, I describe the ingredients and how it is mixed up. A taste will not come, but it will give you an idea of how it is. Okay. See, first of all, the person who is interested in joining Sandipani is as you said, a very keen and a sincere student. It's not a casual interest. So, casual interest, you have various other ways by which you can satisfy yourself. You can go for a 7 days program, 10 days program. In the institution, Chinmaya Mission, Chinmaya International Foundation, you have also various online programs. There's a Foundation Vedanta course, a Bhagavad Geeta course, Upanishad course. So many courses are there. Online also it is being conducted. But the Sandipani is a very, very, very unique thing. Usually, what happens is that people go to the Himalayas. I'm talking traditional, old system. Even now, it is there. People go to the Himalayas, find a teacher, and then sit in the feet of the teacher, study for long years, meditate for whatever time required, internalize that wisdom. So this is how traditionally the wisdom of Vedanta was gained by those who are interested. Swami Chinmayananda Ji himself also, he gained the knowledge this way only. In Uttarakashi with, first in Rishikesh with Swami Shivananda Ji, and later on in Uttarakashi with Sri Swami Tapovan Maharaj. So that is how it was gained. Swamiji had a feeling that this knowledge should be made available for all. And that's how he started coming and sharing the knowledge, and the Chinmaya Mission came about. And Swamiji also wanted that the sincere seekers should be given the knowledge in the way he received, and they also should be trained in the manner in which he is serving the society. Okay? Of course, nobody trained him for that. It came natural to him. But Swamiji said that this knowledge, should be shared. Right? So, to enable this knowledge gaining and knowledge sharing, okay, he has enabled this Sandipani Sadhanalaya. Okay? There's a Gurukula of the Chinmaya Mission called Sandipani Sadhanalaya. Now, as I told you, the ingredients I will describe to you now. So, it's a 2-year program. Okay? 2-year program without any holiday. You cannot say Sunday is a holiday or today is a national holiday. No, 2 years without a holiday. Okay? And 2 years you are in one place. Okay? Our ashram probably is 10 acres of whatever it is. You are in Bombay. There is a place called Powai. In Powai you have the Sandipani Sadhanalaya. 2 years you are there. Now, 2 years, what are you doing there? Morning to night, day in and day out, all that goes in you is this Vedantic wisdom, is this Upanishadic knowledge. So, morning, the first session starts at 5:30 in the morning. 5:30 in the morning, 5:30 to 6, you have meditation and Vedic chanting. Okay? Then you have a short break. 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock is the first Vedanta session. Then you have breakfast, and then you have some time to revise what you have studied in the class. Then you have a Sanskrit learning session. That is probably from 10:30 to 11:30 or 11:45. 12 o'clock to 12:30, you have again chanting session where a certain Vishnu Sahasranama, so many other kinds of stotra texts, and also whatever Bhagavad Geeta, chanting and all those things you learn. Okay, 12:30 you have lunch. Then probably 1:15 or something, 1:15 to you have 3:30, 4 o'clock you have your time. 3:30 probably you have tea or whatever. Then 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, again one more Vedanta session. Then you have a Narayan Seva, Shramadhan, Narayan Seva, you physically something is there. You serve in the ashram, clean up, and whatever you want you do. Then evening you have 6 o'clock Aarti, 6:30 Aarti. And then at 7 to 8 you have Satsang. And then you have probably certain days you have some video sessions of talks of Gurudev Swami Chinmaya Ji or Puja Guruji Swami Tejamayanji. You have the saints of this tradition, so you have. Now, day in and day out this goes through. And what do you cover day in and day out? You starting from the basics of Vedanta. Sadhana Panchakam, Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, Upadesha Sara. All these texts are covered. Then slowly you become ready, you gain the basic concepts of Vedanta. All the various initial things you require to learn, you learn it. Then you are ready for the Upanishads. Then slowly the Upanishads begin. 3-4 Upanishads go on by the time you go 1 year. Okay? Then are we ready for Bhagavad Gita? Now Bhagavad Gita goes on for probably 8 months or 9 months it will go. Then slowly you become ready for Brahma Sutra. Okay? And then you go through Brahma Sutra. And all of them are studied with the commentaries of Adi Shankaracharya, which is in Sanskrit. You may wonder, I don't know Sanskrit, but Sanskrit is also slowly started. And you gain whatever Sanskrit you require to gain, to open these texts and understand, that also comes to you. Alright? And that is how. And then evening satsangs, you are exposed to Bhagavatam, exposed to Ramayana, various stotras written by Adi Shankaracharya, Bhajagovindam onwards. Bhakti literature also starts. So slowly what happens, you get the knowledge, you get the devotion, and slowly you start, and all the while you are in the presence of the teachers there. So doubt clarification sessions go on, and not only that, it is not just studying from the teacher. All of them who are students there are also intensely pursuing these studies. So continuously you get to discuss with them and inputs from them, doubts and clarification, then deeper group discussions, so many things happen. And even through all these things, your sadhana aspect also is nurtured. Your japa, they teach you japa, they teach you dhyana, teach you how to do puja, worship, so that you can connect with God in a personal way. So in this way, it is an amazing, I can't tell you, amazing not because I taught there, amazing because I studied there. More than being a teacher.
Yeah, I remember after attending that 10-day course, I didn't want to come back. And this 10-day course was a very short experience of what a Gurukul feels like. Maybe we're very comfortable there, but still,
Yeah.
we've been reading about how the Gurukul used to be back in BC, maybe. So that was a small glimpse that we got, and it was absolutely amazing. it felt like, and only after studying Tattva Bodh, it felt like, wow, I have so
Uh-huh.
much knowledge now.
Uh-huh.
So I can imagine what will happen after someone goes through that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'd really urge the audience, if someone is,
Shall I say one more thing? One more thing. One more point. Anand, shall I tell you?
please, please.
Along with this learning, there is also guidance on how it can be presented to others. Say the same concept you study in, let us say, for example, you are studying a concept like what is truth, let us say. Now, how will you present this what is truth to children? We discussed about truth, right, in the beginning. How do you present to children? Now, how do you present it to the youth? Now, training is given also because Sandipani sadhana is not only for learning and studying, but also equipping ourselves with the wherewithal to share it also. Okay? So that's it, Ananda. That's what So this makes Sandipani Sadhanalaya a complete experience, and it is unmatched. It is probably many PhDs together you are doing. It's unmatched with joy. That's the beauty. There's hard work, there's joy, and there is fulfillment. And finally, you know what is the path, how you should walk, and then the whole life becomes a beautiful sadhana, beautiful experience. Okay, Anant, I can tell many, many things, but this should be okay, I think, for your question.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Swamiji, even I have been considering attending this 2 year program, leaving behind everything for 2 years and getting into that focused study. I have not been able to convince myself totally because my parents are not convinced. Now, so for example, if someone from the audience, maybe they want to study, I'm sure that parents would first have some resistance that how can you leave everything behind for some time? And what will you gain out of this? So that needs some clarity. Maybe how would they answer to them? What is it that they should understand that they will gain from this? Maybe in their
See,
personal lives.
parents are always interested in the welfare of their sons and daughters. Okay? So parents are the first gods, one can say. Nobody can wish more good than parents in this whole world. Yeah. So now the guru is mother, father, and God combined. Okay. So it is a very, very unique combination in the teacher. Okay. Now let us leave it aside for a minute. Now your question is, how do you convince your parents? First of all, the question we have to ask is, have you convinced yourself? That's the first question. Remember, whatever you are convinced of so strongly, you will be earnest about it. And when you are earnest about something, it will shine in your eyes. It will explode through every pore of your body. That your own mother and father will say, this boy is meant for, this girl is meant for something different. They have to see that spark. And see, remember, I also had to get permission from my parents. Okay. So that is that. So once you are sure about it, and once you are very keen about it, the cosmos conspires to enable you get it. The cosmos conspires. I'm using a negative word, conspires. It doesn't mean that the cosmos somehow sees that you get it. Remember, whatever you want sincerely, you have got it. Whatever you wanted sincerely, you got it. Now, why would you think that what you want sincerely about this alone will not happen? No, it will happen. If you are sincere and if you are truly inclined and And you will find that everything moves in such a way to enable this. How, why, logic, don't ask. It happens. That's how it happens. That is the way of the cosmos. You see, somebody who wants to, who is in poverty, but really wants to study, does this, that, somehow gets this money, that money, somehow. In the most dire circumstances, the person studies and comes up and does well in life, is it not? Now that is worldly knowledge. This is the highest knowledge. This is spiritual knowledge. Don't you think that the cosmos will find a way by which you can be fulfilled?
I hope it does.
It will. If anyone is sincere and keen, it will have to happen. Yeah. So one has to explain. One has to explain to one's parents. This is what I'm studying. Because sometimes, when they think ashram and all, they think, so many negative things happen here and there, So, you find all the news here and there. So many things can be negative, so many places and all. So all these things will be there. But then you have to explain, show the authenticity of the place, show the validity, trueness. You're not going to some ashram as an escapist from life. You are going for a deep pursuit of knowledge, 24 hours, so to say, non-stop, putting your heart and soul in that. And probably, you have to expose them also to Mummy, Daddy, Acha, Amma. Come and see this website, see this. Shall we go visit to the ashram and see what it is there? Like that, slowly. And they get warm to the idea. You can't say everything at one go to them. Say first one thing, little this thing. We know our techniques by which we have convinced our parents.
Yeah, definitely. We've convinced them for so many things. This is something much better than that. So, Swamiji, again, so you mentioned that how late Bhagavad Gita comes into the study in the curriculum after we have grasped so much.
Yeah.
Now the question is, so I am not sure if you have seen it. So there's a TV series called Asur, and then this movie that is released called Oppenheimer. So in all these places, they have shown references of Bhagavad Gita. But first, let me talk about that TV series Asur. What happened there? That the person in the negative role who is going about and killing everyone and killing all the good people, but he's backing himself with the knowledge that this world is unreal, nothing really matters, and so this is a cycle. They'll come back again, and he's taking the backing of that knowledge and doing all sorts of wrong things. So in this way, I think people get the wrong idea of what our shastras are really about. So how do we really communicate the right thing? Plus, the other thing is that in Oppenheimer also, you must know his story that he was the creator of the atom bomb that was dropped in Japan. Now he said that Bhagavad Gita has been the solace of my life. It has given me some relief that it is okay. Sometimes you need to do hinsa to control more hinsa. So how correct is that, and how do we not take that in a wrong way? Because if people try to justify everything through this knowledge, then that is harmful.
Yeah. So I have not seen Asur, and I do not know what all happens there. I take what you are saying to be what is there, and even Oppenheimer and all I have not seen. But what you say is sufficient information for me to give my thoughts about it. Yeah. So Vedanta says the world of the names and forms is false. Yes, Vedanta says that it's unreal, it's false. But Vedanta says that you are that world. The world of names and forms are false, but the core of it is you yourself. Meaning, you Anant, the body, the mind, the intellect, these are apparent, it changes, they are unreal. But the core of you is same as me. So I am you. Why would I harm you? Will I harm a finger of mine? No, I won't harm. So when you are me, why would I harm you? So if you have not understood Vedanta truly in the right sense, yes, you are Asur only. You are Asur only. Because you are not applying Vedanta, you are applying this knowledge impartially, partially, number one. So applying partially, applying incorrectly, right? And actually you are not understood Vedanta.
Right. And
Because
that is where again the guru comes in, because if we understand partially, then we'll have wrong repercussions.
yeah. So you are not impartially looking at the wisdom, but rather partially looking at it, and then understanding whatever is convenient for you to do your wickedness. And then how can the philosophy, or how can the knowledge, and how can this sacrosanct beautiful wisdom be blamed for it? Right. Now, when you talk of Bhagavad Gita, Himsa, Oppenheimer, and all, yes, I do know Oppenheimer. I know, he was a person. I remember when long back when I used to study the Bhagavad Gita. There is a reference that when he saw the autumn, when the what you call, when they had that test, test, and then he said, Divi Surya Sahasrasya Yogapad Bhave Uttita. There's a famous line in Bhagavad Gita where Bhagavan Sri Krishna is showing his cosmic form, and then the description is as though thousands of suns have risen in the sky at once, like that. So something like this and all, he says. That's what I have heard. Oppenheimer. Not that he would say in Sanskrit, but he would probably, knows the English translation of it, and probably he must have. And Bhagavad Gita is indeed a solace. Bhagavad Gita is the final wisdom. It's the whole Vedanta Upanishads' final message. It's the cream, or it's the very essence of the spiritual wisdom. That is no doubt true. But this idea of himsa and all those things are not not right, because you see, Arjuna was a soldier. See, when Arjuna was a soldier, he was a man of the army, and he had a doubt about, my own family members are standing in front of me. How can I wage a war to kill them? Then Bhagavan Sri Krishna said that when you have a war and when you are a soldier, you cannot say that just because the opposite is my brother, or opposite is my friend, or opposite is my uncle. You cannot have this subjectivism there. You have to do your duty as an army person. Come on, Arjuna, don't have this kind of weakness. Don't allow your personal relationship to come in the midst of action. Action is action. Duty is duty. So it's like this. Suppose there's a judge, okay, and the judge has to give objectively and legally whatever he has to give as judgment, he has to give. And the judge keeps on giving judgment according to the law, and suddenly one day he finds his son who has been arrested and brought in front of him. Can now the judge say, no, now it is my son, so I will not, you cannot, can you say that, no, you should not arrest people, this is not right, we should not do it, everybody should be free? No, you should not do that. Whatever is the law, you have to apply. So far you have done according to it. Now suddenly when your son comes, why are you changing? The same way, Bhagavan Sri Krishna advises Arjuna, personal likes and dislikes based on these kind of relationships should not be brought into the fore and lead to confusion in duty. Duty must be done. So this is the context. For Arjuna, he was an army man, therefore war was the context there. You and I don't have a war. We have to do our own duty in our own place without all these kind of personal wishes and wants in the background, to sully our duty and work. Now this is the message of the Gita. Now to do himsa, to do a greater, this and all are not in the context. So to do himsa for whatever, this is not in the context. Where himsa is Bhagavan Krishna did not tell Arjuna do himsa. Bhagavan Krishna told Arjuna only to do your duty. So each one has to find what is one's duty and do it with dedication and understand that likes and dislikes should not rule our duties. What is right should be done at every cost. That is the Bhagavad Gita as far as action is concerned. The final message of Bhagavad Gita is to tell that what is your real nature? Discover that. That is the final message. Through action and duties, purify your heart and then come to see what is your true nature through knowledge. So action has a purpose, knowledge has a purpose. Action purifies your mind, knowledge takes you to the ultimate. That is the whole Gita in 2 lines, okay?
Thank you for clarifying that, Swamiji. Now, there are a few questions that the audience asked. I have a few you have already answered in our conversation. I'll pick just 2 of them. So one is, I think it is a female who has asked this. जो लड़के स्त्री का सम्मान नहीं करते, उन्हें कैसे सुधारें?
जो लड़की?
The people who do not respect women.
Hindi, I understand Hindi even though I may not very fluent. Please tell me, जो लड़की स्त्री को सम्मान नहीं.
जो लड़के स्त्री का सम्मान नहीं करते, उन्हें कैसे सुधारें? And I ask this question right now because we are seeing so much violence in the country, in the Manipur case, in West Bengal, in Rajasthan, so many things are happening. So I think this has, in my opinion, it breaks the structure of society if you're not having equal respect, and women have been subjected to a lot of violence in the history as well. So how do we really educate people for this?
So can you just translate to me the exact line what you said in English?
So the men who don't respect women, how do we really explain it to them, maybe?
Those men who don't respect women, those women who don't respect women, those men who don't respect men, all of them fall under the same category of not understanding the other person to be oneself. The day I understand the other person in front of me everywhere is me alone. When I recognize myself alone is everyone, the way I would be very careful about not harming myself, the same way I will never harm someone. So all these things shows, that divisiveness has entered so deep into our hearts. And once the divisiveness has entered so deeply into our hearts, all actions that we do will be divisive in nature, will harm the other person in actuality. So these are all deep-rooted problems. Well, through legally and other ways and all, whatever is done. But finally, the solution comes when we discover our true nature. And then our heart sings in tune to everybody's heart. And there is symphony created in life. Where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Into that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. This was how Rabindranath Tagore, he used to say. It's really sad, what is happening, sad. But the problem is divisiveness. The problem is lack of awareness that the other person who is being harmed is me, myself. Lack of true perception. The faster, the sooner this wisdom of Advaita, this spiritual wisdom of our nation, this Vedic knowledge is shared, and the transformation is effected at a very deeper level, then these problems will cease. Whatever we do externally, yes, they all must be done. I'm not saying this should not be done. Law and order should be there. Punishments for negative activities should be there. Everything should be there. That is the system which has to be there. But you want to really make quality changes, the knowledge has to be imparted in a deep way to all. And when that is going to happen, then that is going to be the solution. Till that time, the actual solution is not there.
It fills my heart to really to envision a world like that. Do you believe, Swamiji, that kind of world is possible? We can create a world where most people understand their true nature and this divisiveness is gone.
You know, we speak of Satya Yuga, we speak of Ramarajya, and we find that the systems have been in such a manner, if not now, at least in those books of epics and history, we find such systems were there. We don't have to go so far and so back. Even in institutions, even in places where there is the spiritual knowledge available for people, that much transformation is possible. We are not sharing spiritual knowledge, and then in the name of some this that we are not sharing the spiritual knowledge, not making it part of the process, community knowledge, not making it, and then we are expecting results. We are not done the action, then you're expecting a result. It's like a farmer not sowing the seed but expecting a harvest. So we are not giving spiritual knowledge, not sharing it. When you are saying this, I remember in Bhagavata there is one interesting episode where one Raja by name Prutu, he comes and addresses his nation, okay? And then he spells out what are his duties, okay? He says, the first duty of mine is to take care that there is no external forces which are attacking you. First duty. He says, is my duty. Second duty of mine is to ensure that everybody has got work and job. Third duty of mine as a king is this, that I have to ensure that systems are in place and everybody is following the systems. Fourth duty of mine, he says, is to enable spiritual and moral education to all my citizens. He says, these are my 4 duties. And he says also, a king who has not done this fourth duty, he is personally responsible for all the sins of all the population. So this is what we study. Now, our education system is not having those, education inputs, the spiritual education inputs. And I remember when we were in school, there used to be one moral education class used to be there. I do not know. And those classes we used to get free period to go and play. And there was no proper teacher to teach that. Anybody, who could come and teach something could teach that. And it was not at all interesting for us. It was a very boring class. This is not just moral education, spiritual education has to be there. This, what we discussed, what we are discussing, this should be part of the school systems of learning, where everybody is exposed to it. That much change is possible. Let us say 100% no, but that much change is possible. This kind of aberrations to such an extent can be avoided. Some robbery, some stealing here and there, it's okay. But such kind of horrible behavior and unimaginable kind of nonsense. This is all because we are not doing right.
Right. So I've heard in many places, I think Bhagavad Gita has become a part of the curriculum, mostly for students in seventh, eighth, I think. I hope more and more of such knowledge is inculcated as soon as possible. But still, then, would you want to give any message to the parents whose students are maybe going to start studying now or already studying? And because parents have a lot of expectations and they're mostly focused ki, you should get a good job, you should score good marks, but we clearly see that that is not enough, that is not
Yeah.
what is really needed.
Yes. I would suggest two things. Anant, I understood your question. Any message for those parents, all parents? I would suggest two things. Number one, they themselves self-educate on spiritual knowledge. Self-educate. How do you self-educate? I can give you some examples. Many spiritual organizations, they have their programs, spiritual programs. Many spiritual organizations have. They have, for example, I can speak of Chinmaya Mission. You have Bal Vihar for small children. Then you have Yuvakendra for the youngsters. You have study groups for the elders, parents, they are that age group. You have Devi group for the mothers. You have Shishu Vihar for the infants. Now, I'm talking of Chinmaya Mission. There are so many spiritual organizations sharing spiritual knowledge. Now, even our own institution where I'm staying, Chinmaya International Foundation, we have a slew of courses available for somebody who wants to educate themselves in spiritual wisdom. There's a Foundation Vedanta course, Advanced Vedanta course, Bhagavad Gita course, Upanishads course, Master Gita, Master Life course. So many courses are available online. Also, spiritual camps are conducted, not only by our institution, by so many institutions. In other words, self-education. We are not late for educating ourselves in spiritual knowledge. First, educate oneself. Next, enable the children to access spiritual knowledge. These two are important in this order. Self-education comes first, and then enable access to spiritual knowledge for your own children and youngsters. Remember, parents are the first teachers. Mother is the first teacher. Second is the father is the second teacher. Teacher in the school and university, college, that is a third teacher. The first teacher and the second teacher should do their job well. Then the third teacher comes to play well. And then when these things are there, such a child which grows up to a youngster will naturally understand what the whole thing has failed. The mother has failed, the father has failed first. Everywhere there is failure. Everywhere there is failure and we expect success. It will not work out. Now, suppose a child is asking the father or mother or some question about something and spiritual knowledge. Is the mother and father able to answer rather than telling, shut up? We did, our parents told us to do it, we did it, why are you asking question? You also do exact. No, that's not the way. That's not the way. Give opportunities for them to learn. And that will happen self-education and then opportunities for your children to learn spiritual wisdom.
True. I hope this message reaches to the right people, and if not, then whoever is watching this, please share it with the right people. So, Swamiji, I really thank you so much for taking out the time. Hopefully, in the next conversation, will be deep diving more into the Upanishads if we get that opportunity. So, for now,
Thank you.
this is it. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Anand. Sorry, you were saying something. Did I cut you in the middle?
No, no, no. Please, if you have something to say, then I'm on.
I'm very happy, Anand, to interact with you, and you asked such questions which are very, very important to one's personal life, for the society and the world at large. India is a great nation, great because of the spiritual wisdom which has been enshrined in our whole system, in our own culture. Let's take it to the fullest extent, transform ourselves, and in transforming ourselves, the world also transforms. To expect the transformed world without transforming ourselves is as foolish as to say that, as foolish as what? As foolish as foolishness only. What else? What else? As what? It is foolishness. It's impossible. All right. Thank you, Anant.
Ji Swamiji, thank you so much. Thank you.
Hari Om. Hari Om, Anant. Hari Om.
Thank you so much for listening. Do share your experience in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about the Advaita Vedanta course, you can find the link in the description. We'll be back with more such videos. Till then, do subscribe our channel and share it with the relevant people. Hari Om.